Hey, 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 welcome to the Flying Otter channel. It's been a while since I've talked to you. I am 10 days post-op. I went under the knife 16 August on some pretty interesting drugs. I've tried to stay away from them, but sometimes the pain's pretty intense. Healing up, and then probably 6 weeks later, going in for another surgery. Getting prepared so I can get all this stuff taken care of before I head overseas. But today's podcast, video cast, whatever the hell you want to call this, and please subscribe, is to update you on the happenings. There's been a lot of crap happening. I've been out of pocket because, when you're healing, you just, one has to deal with our maladies. We deal with it at our own pace, if you will. I'm an older guy, so healing takes a little bit longer. Yada, yada, yada. But I want you guys to think about a couple things. I know there's been a group of guys and gals that went out to New Jersey and practiced their First Amendment activities. Not practiced, but just lived their life basically, and and looked to see if their rights were going to be violated. I watched several channels during that melee of people, and I got to tell you, when you get a bunch of alpha males, alpha personalities together, you will have clashes. No question. Everybody that holds a camera and records has an agenda. You have an agenda to do X, whatever your agenda is. Holding government accountability, whatever that is. That's up to you. And there are people that follow channels. I've been blessed that, and you've heard me say this before, I'm not going to go out into the community and audit yet. I'm having a little bit of a secondary thought where I'm at because I'm getting a little pissed off on what's coming up in this election cycle and some of the BS that's going on. So hopefully I can get healed up enough. I might be flying around the country. But a lot of different personalities doing their thing. They got a lot of followers, and a person like myself behind the scenes, there's some guys and gals out there that I've taken an interest in, for their cause. And, some of these folks, don't have, a lot of discretionary money. So I'm fortunate enough where I've been able to give them money. And I'm not going to give you the amount, but I've given a lot of money away. And I've invested in some guys' lives and some guys' channels. And I want you guys and gals to think about what that term invest. When someone takes money out of their life and invest in you, do you have an attitude of gratitude? Or are you the type of personality that says thank you and move on to the next guy that's going to give you money? When someone takes an interest, I'm old school. It's easier in sales 101, guys and gals. It's easier to hold on to one customer than create one. So if someone gives you X, whatever your amount is, and you see that one-time shout out, whatever they do in the super chat, great. But when was the last time you dropped that person an email or went by their channel and said, thank you? I appreciate you donating. I appreciate what you did for me. That's an attitude of gratitude. Otherwise, you're a user. I don't care how big your channel is. I have friends that run channels of millions, and I get on their channels. I've talked to them, and they've got donors, and most specifically, these are successful business people. They make a habit of emailing, and some even go old school based on relationships with the donations and send thank you cards. Send them, maybe the channel swag, whatever that might be, is what shows gratitude. And, I'm being in my 60s. There's a lot of guys and gals that are out there in their 30s and, don't have a clue. They don't have a clue when it comes to understanding thanking people. There are people if they're on a fixed budget, I know guys I've spoken to personally, they're on fixed incomes, yet they give. Do you realize a person on a fixed income that gives money to someone has divested out of their life and sowed hopefully a good seed to help the recipient maybe offset a cost, maybe buy a new piece of equipment, whatever that donation could be used for, fantastic. And before you say you're too busy, keep in mind you only have so many hours in life, people. So do you have an attitude of gratitude, or are you a user? Or are you just a guy or a gal out there just, hey, I'm just going to get on the web and throw my stuff out there. When people give me the money, they give me the money. And I'll say hello in the chat or whatever, and then forget about it. Let me give you an attitude. Let me give you what I did. I have a good friend of mine I've known 40 plus years. He told me, and this was probably close to 8 years ago, 10 years ago. He told me he was going into surgery. And I've known him. He was at my wedding 42 years ago. And we were stationed together. So he's like my brother. And I called him every day just to make sure he was okay. Even though I was hours away from him, he was in my mind and in my heart. Because I love the guy. He's like my brother. And that's what I have chosen to do. When I know someone's hurting, I try to reach out. And I don't want to be an imposition to anybody. I want to be some old gray-haired guy that's, haunted around the net, looking for people to bless. I'm not that guy. If someone moves me in my heart, like Flex Your Freedoms, like Blind Justice, I'll do what I can. Now there are guys who don't ask for money, and that's fine. I might invest in them. I might reach out to them and say, "What do you need? Do you need a computer? Do you need what do you need?" I'm not going to tell you, but I know there are some guys out there that have given away vehicles to people. Think about that. I know someone personally has given away vehicles or given away a vehicle to help somebody. Hello? Would you do that? I know a guy personally, and my wife and I have discussed it. I'm the final decision in my home. I've got a truck, got 130,000 miles on it. It's a Dodge Ram with a Hemi in it. I know a guy that was hurting, and I was going to drive it up there, sign the title over to it, and buy me another vehicle because he needed it. But it was the wrong setup for his use. That's what I was going to do. And I might give away my Mercedes to somebody. I don't know. I'm going to divest myself, sell my airplane. I'm going to divest however I choose to do. I'm not a big shot. It's just that, what kind of attitude do you have when it comes to someone blessing you or coming into your life and saying a kind word, and not just for the accolades, not for the the attaboys. Someone that really cares. There are guys and gals out there that have moved me, and I've said this before. And I'll reach out to them if they need something. Just tell me, and it'll come your way. And if I can't send it to you because of whatever, I'll drop some money your way. 500, 1,000, whatever the case might be. But what kind of an attitude do you have? Do you have an attitude of gratitude? Or are you just out there to run do your thing, get your money, platitudes, and go off to the next venue, more people, yada, yada, yada. I'm pointing fingers at no one. I am going to be putting one specific channel on blast. And Kevin, we've talked about it, and I'm going to go after this little jerk off. I'm not going to tell you who he is. I'm not going to give you any input, but this guy, I've been brewing on this for 4 months now. He stole some money from me. Supposed to go to a charity, and it didn't go. And I'm going to see if this guy's still around, because I'm going to try to get, some guys with some bigger channels to raid his channel and just blast him. The guy's a thief, bottom line. But, what kind of an attitude do you have respecting, when people help you? I've always had an attitude of gratitude. When someone think about this for a moment. You live on X, regardless of what that X amount is. Take the amount you make and divide it by 24 hours. That's your hourly wage. Whatever you're making times 24 hours. They'll go 8 hours. Don't go that bit. Let's just use it on a 24-hour clock. How much are you making on a 24-hour clock? So when you buy a piece of whatever, if you buy food, when you put gas in, feed the children, clothe the children, you're expending X amount of hours of your life to pay for that. When you have someone out in the world of YouTube reach out to you and sow a seed of money to you, equipment, whatever the case might be, um, uh, that takes X amount of dollars of that person's life to do that. Puts things into perspective. Think about wherever you're at on the timeline on life. There's, the actuaries say guys live until 72 or 82, whatever the hell the new tables are. But you put an hourglass out. I'm in my hourglass. The sand is a lot at the bottom. There's still some up top. I don't know if I'm blessed with a Japanese gene where I'll live to 100. Oh, that'd be kind of. Oh, imagine me at 100 years old. My gosh, I'll be a cranky old cuss. I'm still a cranky older cuss, but I have an attitude of gratitude. I've got some guys and gals that I think are friends of mine. But my friend, that getting back to my buddy who was sick, he runs a big company, and he's reached out to me multiples of times because we know each other. You know, everybody's got life, everybody's busy, and it's priorities. I understand that, folks. But think about this. I hope you have an attitude of gratitude. That melee that happened in Jersey, it was funny. I thought it was a joke. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Of all the places in the world. And Leroy, Truth Investigations, God bless that guy. That man has put a lot of crap out there, exposing a lot of stuff. And good on you, Leroy. That's for sure. And, again, there's some channels I follow and I like them. I like to be educated. There's a lot of attorney channels out there, specifically in Texas, that I follow because it's relevant to my state. It's relevant to statutes and case law directly related to me in this. And I'm thinking about going and making my presence known at some local council meetings here locally after I get healed a little bit and, I'm okay. I won't drop the dime when I'm going to do it. There's a lot of things I'm going to try to do here in the next year. Do some interviews, exposés. I'm going to ask some very hard questions on some law enforcement people. I'm going to, really go hard at them on some very specific questions that everybody gets popped for that I've seen across the YouTube. Getting back, I digress. Do you have an attitude of gratitude? I do. I'm glad I'm alive. I'm glad I've got the capabilities to help people. I'm just blessed that, I'm part of this deal. I'm not part of it. I'm a part of my own deal. I create my own stuff. So I say to you guys and gals, everybody talks about one alpha community, one A community. I'd be interested to see if 5 of you can define in 5 minutes on a piece of paper what your definition of a 1A community is. Write it down and compare it with your friends. If you got a team, compare it with your team. When all of you guys and gals come together with a consensus on what you collectively believe a 1A community is, you have agreement, and then you have a path forward in thought, mind, and deed. Secondarily, when you have a mission, being in the military, everybody, I hear the term, what's the mission? What is the mission in the 1A community? Is it clearly defined? Is it ubiquitous across the tube channels? Ubiquitous means the same across. Is it sticky in the terms of web? Is it always drawing people back? Some people's channels are comedic, some are comedic, and James Freeman's got an interesting way of doing stuff. I kind of got his drift. It's kind of funny what he does because he comes back and bites whoever he's talking to on the backside when he deals with them. So, Freeman's got some interesting things. And there's a lot of channels that some guys don't like, and frankly, I don't give a rip. I like them because I get educated by some of these guys, because some of these guys are knowledgeable. I look and I listen to hear education. I look to hear, and there's some channels that are just for entertainment, and I enjoy those guys too. But it's to the point where all this negativity, all this drama. Let me tell you something. For a guy who's taught positivity for 25 plus years, I digressed. I started watching stuff that was negative. Whatever you think about the most, and I heard this say, is what you'll get. We used to retort, Whatever you think about the most, you'll get. And younger guys will go, okay, I'd like, ladies, turn yours off. Guys would go, I'd like to be a beautiful woman's bicycle seat. We record it as a bicycle seat. Sorry, had to go there. It's a guy thing. Ladies, I apologize if you're listening. It's a guy thing. Just take it from an old guy that's just talking off the cuff. But anyway, you have an attitude of gratitude. I do. I'm glad I'm alive. I'm glad I'm able to help people. I'm glad that there are some people in the community I can consider friends. Um, and I wish the best for everybody that listens to this, because you're not blessed tomorrow. My wife's situation that happened in June scared me, scared the shit out of me. So it puts things in perspective. Have an attitude of gratitude. Don't expect, bless someone. Say a kind word to somebody. Thank them. And if you're capable, bless them. Ask them what they need. What can you do for them? That's a beautiful phrase. What can I do to help? That's a wonderful phrase. What can I do to help? When was the last time you asked somebody that you follow, what can I do to help you? Let them know that you're willing to help if they need help. God bless. I've rambled long enough, 16 minutes. You guys and gals have a great one. Update from the flying auditor. We're out of here. If you see a guy in uniform, thank him for his service, military wise. Retire. If you see some guy in a retired hat, military retired hat, Purple Heart, Civil Star, doesn't matter. Thank them for their service. And if you're in a restaurant, buy their meals, especially the Vietnam era vets or anybody else you feel led. When I go out and eat and I see some vets in the room and I know they wearing these hats, I'll get the server over and I'll say, I'll take all those tickets and I'll buy the meals. There's a place in Texas called Texas de Brazil, very expensive, Brazilian barbecue. And, in San Antonio where I was going, that's where a lot of the Lackland Air Force Base, a lot of the young kids go, and they'll go, on break, and they'll bring their families and they'll go eat. So one day my wife and I were there eating, and there was a table of probably 30 people, about 6 young airmen watching this one gal, a huge wall with a bunch of wines at this restaurant, Texas de Brazil. And there's a trapeze artist. She'll go up and get the bottle of wine and bring it down. And sometimes the ladies on the swings are good looking. And there was one time, I think they had to use tow truck straps to hold her up. If you'd have seen her, buddy, you'd have gone, what the hell? This gal was a roly-poly times 10 on a trapeze. Self-image this size of the globe. She didn't care. She was making money. God bless her. So, my wife and I said, let's buy everybody. Let's buy all these people's stuff. It was an expensive deal. I didn't care. Minimum's $50. So we dropped some money and blessed them. And nobody at that table, you should have seen the joy in the families with these young airmen that were seeing their families during basic training. That made my heart good. That blessed me, and I enjoyed doing that. I hope you get an opportunity to do that when you're able. If you're not, I wish you could. So everybody, God bless. I've said this again. I'm out of here. We'll talk to you soon. Later, Gators.